Mr. Chairman, I do have an amendment at the desk.
You're recognized.
I'd like to dispense with the reading.
Consider it done.
Thank you. This year, the State Department's annual human rights report contains an unprecedented and alarming level of politicized editing by the Trump administration. It undermines the credibility of the report and undermines the human rights they are intended to promote and support. The State Department dramatically changed the way it reported on discrimination in general, and in particular on women's rights and reproductive rights. By erasing reproductive rights from the State Department's Human Rights Report, the United States is demoting women's rights to something less than human rights. That is dangerous and unacceptable. Reproductive rights have been internationally recognized since 1994 International Conference on Population and Development and the 1995 Beijing World Conference on Women. The United States has repeatedly agreed to international agreements that include references to reproductive rights. The State Department's action flies in the face of what has become a consistent trajectory towards expanding women's rights globally. And this censored and incomplete report undermines U.S. leadership on the global stage. That's why I've offered this amendment. This amendment simply adds the status of reproductive rights back into the list of items the State Department must report on. This year's Human Rights Report was a giant step backwards for women and demonstrated a careless disregard for the rights and autonomy of women here in this country and around the world. We must ensure we don't repeat this mistake. Passing this amendment to require the State Department to report on reproductive rights will ensure that we are valuing women across the globe. I urge my colleagues to stand up for the basic notion that women's rights are human rights by supporting this amendment. I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Chairman Rogers.
Mr. Chairman, I rise in opposition to the gentlelady's amendment. The amendment would amend the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961, which, of course, falls